Welcome to the Socialette podcast, where we empower you with the marketing know-how you need to create the business of your dreams. I'm your host, Steph Taylor, and I'm a marketing nerd, Shiraz lover, and passport stamp collector. Join me as I dive into all things small business marketing and deliver them to you in bite-sized, fluff-free lessons every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Let's get learning.
Hey, welcome back to Socialette. This is episode 182. This episode is brought to you by the free 28-day Kajabi Hero Challenge. Kajabi is the online course platform that I've used to build and host all of my courses and my digital products and my membership site. Basically, it's been a game changer. So when you first join the Kajabi Hero Challenge, you get access to Kajabi for free for 28 days, and they'll walk you through all of the bits and pieces that you need to know to build and launch your first digital product and get your first sale in 28 days. I've spoken quite a lot on this podcast about the power of launching a course or a digital product just so you can add that passive income stream into your business. And it's really not as hard as you think it will be. So make sure you head to stephtaylor.co/hero to take the 28-day challenge. It's free and it's a really good feeling once you get it done. Okay, so this episode, I'm looking at how to create an online course because I know a lot of you have been asking me this, and it's not a big, scary, mammoth project that it needs to be in your mind, right? Creating my first online course completely changed my business. So before that, I was doing mainly client work, and I suddenly realized that I could stop trading my time for money and that I could help a lot more people at a lower cost to them. So I was getting a lot of inquiries from people who couldn't actually afford to work with us, who couldn't afford the done-for-you solution. So it was like I could reach a completely different market with a course. People who wanted to DIY their Facebook ads, people who wanted to DIY their Instagram marketing, rather than pay somebody to do it for them. So I've now created 2 big 8-week courses. My first one was Facebook ads that flourish, and my most recent one was Instabam. And I honestly enjoyed almost every step of creating them. I won't say every single step because it is work. It is going to be hard work, guys, but it's good fun. Okay, so how did I do it? Well, this episode, I'm looking at how you can create your very own online course because it's really not that hard. It just requires little bits of work consistently. The first thing you need to do is define who your student is. As tempting as it can be to make your course for absolutely everyone out there, you'll find it so much easier to market your course if it applies to a super specific group of people. So, for example, my courses are for small business owners, but I really struggled when I was writing my sales page copy because half of them have product-based businesses and the other half have service-based businesses. So while the courses can get both groups of people results in the form of more customers or more clients, it meant that the way that I worded my copy wasn't as convincing because there's still that element of doubt. Is this course right for me? Next, you need to work out what's the transformation that your course is going to give them. And this is the biggest thing when you're creating an online course. And it's something I only figured out last year. No, I'm still in the process of learning this. So it makes a huge difference. It would have made marketing Facebook ads that flourish so much easier at the start if I'd managed to grasp this concept before I launched it the first time. Basically, the gist of it is that your customer doesn't want more learning material. They already have so much content to learn. They don't want more content. They need an outcome. They want a transformation. Think of it like a before and an after, okay? So right now they're at the before stage. The after is where they want to be, their dream state. Your course is the way to get them from A to B, from the before to the after. Instead of selling the course, you're selling the after. You're selling the transformation. It's your job to get them from the before to the after as quickly and as easily as possible. And that's where your course comes in, right? Okay, so how are you going to get them there? Now, I followed Amy Porterfield's method when creating both of my big courses, Facebook Ads that Flourish and Instabam. The first thing to do is to do a massive brain dump of every single thing you could teach somebody about the topic. Just everything you know about it, everything you could teach. Write it all down. Don't self-filter. Don't think too hard about it. Just write whatever comes to your mind. I did this on a massive piece of butcher's roll, and then I typed it up afterwards because I find it so much easier to brainstorm on paper, but you. Do what works for you. Then after I did the brain dump, I arranged it all into categories or like into a framework, into steps, so that I had a rough structure of how the course would play out. Then I went through and for every single idea I'd written down, I asked myself, does my student need to know this? Do they need to know this to get from the before to the after? Is this absolutely essential, or can they still achieve the result without knowing this? Anything that wasn't 100% from absolutely essential for the transformation, I either deleted that completely or I saved it for later as a bonus. Bonuses are really good for the nice to haves, the things that aren't essential to their success, but that can still help your student. So, for example, one of the bonuses I offered with Instabam is a training on influencer marketing. My students don't need to do influencer marketing to see success from Instagram, but if they wish to learn how to do influencer marketing, the training is there for them as a bonus. So it's a nice to have. Once you've done all of this, you can refine your course structure. You can move things around and then come up with a clear module outline. Map out any bonuses, any worksheets, cheat sheets, templates, etc. Any of those sorts of things, map them all out as well. And then it's time to start creating. Now, the thought of creating an entire course is freaking overwhelming, but the easiest way to do it is to approach it one little step at a time, one lesson at a time, one module at a time. I start by outlining each lesson in a Google Doc before I even think about putting them into slides. When I was creating my last course, I set aside about an hour every morning purely for course content creation. So before I'd checked my emails, before I'd started on my to-do list, before I'd done anything except drink coffee, I sat down and I just started typing. These little efforts, an hour each day, this adds up. And then one day you look up from your screen and you realize that you've created pretty much all the content you need for a course. And then you need to record it. Now, for both my courses, I launched before I'd recorded all of the content. Recording for me is the most exhausting part. So I didn't want to spend the time recording the content if nobody wanted to buy the course. Now, launching my course before I'd recorded it, this was my way of validating the idea. And if you listen back to my last podcast episode, I shared with you a little bit about how I actually launched the course. So I'm not going to dive too deep into the actual launching this episode. A lot of people get stuck on whether they'll record direct to camera video, so that is them talking to the camera, or whether they'll just do voiceover slides, or a combination of both. Now, I found doing slides with a voiceover has been the easiest and the most effective for me, but it's personal preference. If you're more comfortable standing in front of a camera, maybe with a teleprompter, without a teleprompter, and just riffing about your topic, then you do you. Anyway, so once you've recorded your course, you need to host it somewhere. And it can be tempting to host it on your website because that's the free or the cheaper option. But I would recommend you steer clear of this, because if you're hosting video on your website and lots of people are watching it, it's going to slow down the rest of your website big time. You might think that this isn't an issue in the early days if you've only got like maybe 10 people doing your course, but the whole idea behind creating an online course is it's a product that you can sell at scale. So right from the beginning, you want to set it up to scale. You want to set it up for success. You need to prepare to scale, and that means getting all of your systems right so that you're not suddenly scrambling a few months down the track when you've got 100 people doing your course and they can't actually load the video because it's so slow because everyone's on there watching at the same time. So I use Kajabi to host my online course because it's reliable, it's easy to use, it's designed purely for course creators. No, it's not the cheapest option out there, but one of the big reasons that I chose it was that it doesn't take a cut of your sales and it doesn't own your content. A lot of other platforms out there will either take a percentage, or some of them actually have little ownership clauses where they retain ownership of your content or something along those lines. So you want to be able to make sure that you have 100% ownership over your content. Now, remember, you can try Kajabi for free for 28 days as part of the Kajabi Hero Challenge. Head to stephtaylor.co/hero to sign up. And yeah, that's literally all there is to creating a course. Last episode, I touched on the launch. So if you're interested in how I launched my course, head back to that episode. Otherwise, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss my next episode, which is going to be a bunch of launch lessons that I learned from my last online course launch. And there's a few good ones in there. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that and any other new episodes that are released. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, I'd really, really appreciate a quick rating and a review in Apple Podcasts. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Catch you next time.